the only episode I've ever seen where Will has a sleeping baseball cap.
And a multicolored swish outfit.
That was like, okay, if Will were an Italian Guido that...
Velour. That's the wrong material. You're thinking velour.
No, but then I was going to say, who had sex with Benny Boops. That's what the outfit that Will was wearing would be the offspring of.
It's just awkward enough that I'm going to agree with you to stop. Because I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. Nah. I can't.
Welcome, everyone, to So Fresh, So Prince. Thank you all for coming. If you're just finding us, welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us, whether it be on iTunes, whether it be on Stitcher, whether it be on SoundCloud, wherever it be. Thank you guys so much for finding us. Make sure to follow us and become part of the conversation. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr.
We're on the internet. Just type our name in and you'll find us. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I owe you $500. That's how sure I am, because I don't have $500 to give you.
Yeah, you do. You just don't want to.
See, now it's out there. Now everybody knows. See, I can't just show you my stash of money anymore. You can't know where my safe is.
I don't know where your safe is. I just know that there's at least $500 in it.
It's my Go money. Everybody should have $500 in Go money.
Yeah, well, it's in a bag that you can just grab that also has a few other things.
Okay. You know and everybody else listening knows, but don't tell anybody else.
Just tell them to listen.
Yeah.
And then if you do like us on Facebook or Twitter, and you start commenting and leaving nice comments, then we'll give you a shout-out. Like, for example, I would like to give a shout-out to Robbie Eleanor, because you've been commenting and liking things on the Facebook, and we appreciate you, Robbie Eleanor, so make sure to keep listening and tell your friends. Also, on Instagram, we would like to thank the Mancast, because you have liked just about everything that we have done. Now, Mancast, I don't know if this is specifically because you want us to listen to your podcast, which we have.
Yeah.
But, if you're listening back at us, then, holler at your boys.
Yeah, and thank you for having the Mancast as a name. That's just an awesome name.
Well, I've listened to it. Have you listened to it yet?
Not extensively, but I've listened to it.
Okay.
I listen to things in spurts. I have ADD.
Okay. For those who don't know, the Mancast, every week it's, I think, 5 friends who sit down and have a debate on the manliest something. Whether it be like the manliest TV show, the manliest movie, the manliest piece of clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they do.
Yeah. And those are conversations you should have every week anyway. So, I mean, they're just making it easier for everybody else.
Do you think that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would win any fight for manliest TV show? I'm going to take your silence as a no.
I was trying to find an answer, and yeah, I don't even have one. It wouldn't be manly. It might be funny. Maybe goofiest.
It's definitely a goofy show. I mean, this was probably the goofiest episode.
Yeah,
we've watched so far.
This is slapstick. This episode is almost like the Three Stooges.
Absolutely, this is 100% a Three Stooge episode.
Yeah, it has all the shtick to it. Just it does have the shtick to it. You just didn't get somebody gouged in the eye or bopped in the head on camera. No.
People got bopped. Will got bopped in the head.
In the back of the head, though, not like the top, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
This is kind of a tangent, but I started listening to the Gilmore Guys podcast recently,
and he admits that openly.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's a brave man.
I have seen every episode of the Gilmore Girls.
Even braver man. Do you watch Sex and the City as well?
No. Everyone has to draw the line somewhere. I have nothing against Sex and the City. I think that Sex and the City was a relic of its time that would never have worked in any other scenario and is this magical unicorn because of that. But I can't watch it.
Because he is a regular man.
Yeah. But Gilmore Girls and Gilmore Guys specifically, they admit to the show being stupid. And one thing that I particularly enjoy about The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is I don't think it's a stupid show. I think it's a very groundbreaking show in a lot of ways. Until we sat down and watched this episode. And this was, for lack of a better term, I don't know where they were going, but this episode just had me scratching my head the entire time with what was the writer thinking.
This might have been the Hangover episode.
Probably.
And I don't mean like Bradley Cooper hangover. I mean like Monday morning hangover. Like, you get into the writing room and it's like, okay, guys, I drank way too much tequila. And we have to have an episode before we leave. So why don't we just throw some stuff up against the wall and see what sticks? And whatever falls to the ground that we can pick up, that's the episode.
So I had a slightly different theory that this was revenge on the network. The network came to them and said, okay, so we need a Thanksgiving episode. We don't have a Thanksgiving episode. Oh, well, you're shooting on Friday. You're going to shoot a Thanksgiving episode. Okay. What should it be about? Oh, it can be about Thanksgiving.
Okay, we have a groundbreaking idea. Okay, it's so detailed. We want a Thanksgiving episode.
Whoa.
I mean, obviously I don't have to explain the detail to you because you're a creative.
Of course.
You get where I'm going,
yes.
right?
Although this episode was groundbreaking to a degree because this was the first time that we see Will's mother.
Yeah.
So she shows up. She's played by the beautiful and incredibly talented Vernee Watson. Is it Vernee or Vernee?
I'm pretty sure I don't want to get it wrong because she might yell at me. But I'm just going to say both.
Okay. Yes, and Vernee, you're welcome to stop by the podcast anytime. And you can let us know how to say your name.
Or we could just do it like the family has done it on the show. They have Viv for Vivian. They have Vi for Viola.
Yeah.
We can just shorten it up. Just V.
Yeah. All right. V it is. The Gilmore Guys, they keep having this running joke. It's like, we're really sorry our special guest, Alexis Bledel, she canceled on us last minute.
Well.
And I'm glad we never started that trend.
No.
We have the open door.
Yeah.
If any cast member ever wants to come on the show, we will make that happen.
Feel free.
Whether that be you wanting to come to our studio or if you want us to come to you, we're nice and mobile. We can make all of that happen.
We could do it on your private jet, your private yacht. Basically, if it's expensive and only certain people can get in there, we can do it there.
And we will bring wine.
I was going to say champagne. So we'll bring wine and champagne.
Champagne is wine. Wine is champagne.
Yeah. I mean, we'll just bring a box of libation. Not like that. No, it's not like a box of wine. A box full of bottles full of libation.
Oh, you mean we're going to bring a case?
Yes, a case.
Okay.
Brain fart. It's okay.
All right. So before we get any further down this rabbit hole, that invitation is real, by the way. So
we
Will,
will bring a box
Jazz,
of wine.
Alfonso, Karen, Tatiana, Janet, Daphne, Ross, if you're listening, just let us know.
Box of wine?
With a box of Franzia with your name on it.
Or Zima. We might get fancy.
Oh, God. If you can find Zima, you win so many cool points.
Yeah, well.
So, Lorenzo, what happened in this episode?
Well, we find out that it's Thanksgiving.
Mm.
And, like you said, Thanksgiving it automatically comes very quick.
Yes.
Apparently they skipped over all of the other holidays too back then.
Well, we've had 1 week between Halloween and Thanksgiving. Normally, there's 3 weeks.
Normally, in real life. But when we go to Bel-Air, everything is just a holiday.
Exactly.
So we find out that it's Thanksgiving. And there has been no food preparation. There's been nothing. The only thing they did was buy Aunt Vi a ticket to come see Will in Bel-Air. And everybody gets excited, except for Uncle Phil, of course, because everybody makes fun of Uncle Phil. It's just what you do.
Yes.
So Aunt Vi shows up. And Will wants to flex just a little bit. Says, hey, Mom, look what I can do. Jeffrey, take those bags upstairs. And Aunt Vi slaps him in the back of the head. This is the first of many slaps in the back of the head. Not child abuse. It's just what parents call a quick check, I guess.
Okay.
And this tends to go on and on. You know, as Aunt Vi gets settled in, Will gets a little bit more settled in, and every time he wants to impress his mom, he has somebody try and do something for him. And Aunt Vi doesn't like that, so she gives the gardener the day off. She gives Jeffrey the day off. Basically, everybody who works for the banks gets a day off when Aunt Vi comes to visit.
Yep.
So Phil and Aunt Viv have a conversation about the entitlement of their children. And Uncle Phil just wants to have a good Thanksgiving because he is a large, hefty man who likes to eat and just wants to make sure his food is right. So he says, make sure you call the caterer. So Aunt Viv calls the caterer and cancels. The kids. Oh, yes. The kids are making Thanksgiving dinner. And that's what happened in this episode. Challenging parenting and the bank's children cooking for the first time. It's like Hell's Kitchen.
It's such an awful concept because the kids end up doing the cooking, but they get no supervision whatsoever.
I call that bad parenting.
That's not just bad parenting. That's like a personal form of punishment because I personally love Thanksgiving.
I love good food.
I'm a fat kid at heart.
I think we all are.
So when Thanksgiving rolls around, you know, everyone got together and everyone knew what they could make and everyone kind of went with their own specialty, and whether it was a stuffing or cranberry sauce or a green bean casserole, and it all ended up really delicious. But, like, when I was 16, I wasn't cooking the turkey.
No, I wasn't even allowed in the kitchen. Like, I couldn't get within 5 feet of a roll. If I got close to the door, something would fly at me.
You see, I was allowed to come into the kitchen. My grandmother would sneak me food, so...
We clearly grew up in two different worlds.
Yes, we did.
I was starved until we ate dinner, and you got snacks.
No, you're explaining why up until my mid-20s I was a fat kid, not only in heart, but also in body.
So we were like the number 10 growing up. You were the round one, and I was the emaciated one because I had to wait.
Exactly.
Okay, so we were a 10 even before we started this.
There you go.
All right.
Perfect 10.
Okay.
But backing up, we've got a lot of things in this episode that didn't make sense. All the way from the beginning, because we open up on Jeffrey, the Englishman, who is telling Ashley, the American, the story of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Normally you have the Americans talking about Thanksgiving.
No. Well, see, here's the thing. I think the banks, since they've hired Jeffrey to clean up after them and cook for them, maybe his job is also to read for them. You never know. When you pay for these luxuries and amenities, you don't want to lift a finger. And turning a page requires a finger. At least one.
I mean, if we were to look at it from a more positive aspect, we could also say that Jeffrey clearly has an affection for the bank's children, despite the fact that they are spoiled brats.
That too.
And, you know, Ashley is 9 and she wants to learn about Thanksgiving, and she has her book that she got in her 3rd grade class, and her teacher needs someone to read it to her, and so why not Jeffrey?
Of course, because he's the most distinguished, and also because she's Banks and she doesn't lift a finger.
Paired with the fact that it gives us an opening for when Will walks in, Jeffrey gets to say the wonderful line, and then the village idiot enters and destroys the entire meal.
Yeah.
Which is great foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had a lot of village idiots in this episode.
That's true, though, but this is also playing on that shtick of Will coming in to start the episode. Like, it's almost like the opening act and then the headliner comes out on stage. Because that's been the architecture of these last few episodes.
Which allows Will to come in so that he can get the joke in the cold open, because Hillary, being her ecologically conscious self, she says she has so much trouble with the turkey because they are raised specifically to be eaten.
Huh.
So Will chimes in and says, oh, well, did they have aspirations? Did they want to be doctors? Did they want to be lawyers? Now, he didn't say this like Stewie Griffin the way I just did. He says it the way that Will says it. He's like, Hillary, I don't think any of them had aspirations to be doctors or lawyers.
Yeah, I think that might have been a Carlton joke that went to Will. It was like, hey, it doesn't work with him. You're funny. You can make it work.
Well, that was always the appeal of the show, is that Will made a lot of things work that probably shouldn't have, including his outfits.
His outfits are historically and impeccably horrible. But it's almost like that. It's so ugly that it's high fashion.
Well, and again, as we talked about last week especially, it is very much a relic of its time, the show. So the fashion that they used was very Fresh Prince fashion, which was very, very 90s oriented.
Yeah, it gave me vertigo. Watching this episode really did give me vertigo with all those shapes and colors.
This episode gave me vertigo for so many reasons. There was like acid flashbacks to how much food I've eaten over the years in Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but I mean, even the outfit that he came in on. You remember those swish pants?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like his whole outfit was made of that.
Swish pants, because when you would walk, the pants would make them like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah, he must have sounded like a hurricane coming through. Just people. Oh, yeah, Will's here. Yeah, he's still here. We can hear him. Because nobody else was wearing any of that.
I'm trying to imagine Carlton in one of those jumpsuits. He needs to stick to his sweaters.
Yeah. Well, Carlton, I mean, even his walk on the show has a stick up the butt kind of thing. So, him wearing swish pants might not do anything.
Maybe not. But again, he gets that from Uncle Phil, where if he were wearing swish pants, there would definitely be exactly.
Or at least it would be two holes by the end of the day, because look, I'm just being honest. After a while, swish pants, they degrade.
Which is a perfect setup, because the first thing that happens when Aunt Vi, Will's mom, shows up is that she makes a fat joke. And Uncle Phil knows that she's going to make a fat joke.
Yeah.
He assumes that she's going to make a joke about his beard, because he recalls the last time that she was there, she said his beard makes him look like Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, maybe she's seen Bigfoot and they might look like brothers.
And Uncle Phil even points out that doesn't make any sense. Nobody's seen Bigfoot. How would she know?
Because he shaved himself and became a lawyer and named himself Phil. And she knows the real truth.
All I can say is that beard is 100 times better than his mustache.
Yeah, well, anything is better than the creeper mustache. It just doesn't look good on anybody.
No, although Will kind of pulls it off at various points during the show.
Kind of. Main word being kind of. Not really, though.
But we get away from this all very quickly when Aunt Vi, she comes in, she's making fun of Uncle Phil. She asks Aunt Viv, making sure that Will isn't taking too much food out of their mouths, and then points at Uncle Phil and says, I know he's not taking any food out of your mouth.
I mean, those are just easy jokes. That's like third grade, though.
Yeah.
She might have been starting off with the soft jabs.
But these jokes, they go away very quickly, because she is clearly there to make up for some mom time that she has not had. And not in the, I want to see my son way, in the, no, my son needs to be on the straight and narrow.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, that's just parenting. Like, even when your mom comes in town and you're 30 and you're 40, you still have to take the trash out. You have to wash the dishes. You have to vacuum. You have to dust. You have to fold. Automatically, the apartment in the house or even the mansion that you pay for becomes hers all of a sudden, and you become 12 or 15 again, and you have to listen to everything she says. That's just a parent thing.
Yeah, it's true. And that's also one of the reasons why my parents never stay with me when they come visit.
Well, see, here's where we differ. The first time that happened to me, I had to let my mom know she was in breach of contract. Because every parent has that contract with their kid, that if I pay for the roof and you live under it, I make the rules. So I had to explain to my mom how that works both ways. Like, yeah, I'm your kid. Yeah, you gave me life. You could take it away from me as well. Know that all too well. But Section A2 says, if I pay for said roof and you are under said roof that I pay for, you have to do what I say. That doesn't quite work.
No, but Section B, Clause 12 also states that if you want to be in control, that's fine, but that means that I get to sleep in as late as I want in my own house, and you have to pick up after me.
Yeah. We'll bring in our lawyers for this one.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is why my mom knows. She just knows.
And Mama Gordon, if you're listening, make sure to tweet at us and let us know what you know.
Yeah, or text, because I know tweeting is like rocket science for you, even though you worked on computers.
And we will absolutely read that text on the next podcast.
I will tweet it out. Don't worry. It's okay. I got you, Mom. I got you. But yeah, it's just funny because it's that mom thing, and she's had months away from him, and it's odd to me that the first thing your parents want to do when they see you after a few months is just kind of rein you in and give you chores, as if that's the only way.
Yeah. Which is why when Will tries to say, hey, Mom, look at how cool this is. I can make Jeffrey do whatever I want. Vi puts the kibosh on that right away and says, no, Jeffrey's not going to take my stuff up to my room. You're going to take my stuff up to my room.
Yeah, and I don't think the Bankses have had it quite yet, because they just kind of let this one happen. I think this is like, hey, we finally found somebody who can make Will do all the stuff that we tell him to. Let's see where this goes.
And everyone's mom is supposed to be able to do that. And everyone's okay with these sort of things when it's happening to someone else.
Yeah.
But then it starts happening to you.
Yeah.
And that's when Aunt Viv gets a little off and isn't happy so much with the way that Vi is acting. Because after dinner, Vi says, Jeffrey, you're not going to clean up. The kids are going to clean up. You're going to sit here and you're going to eat some cobbler, Jeffrey. And Jeffrey does whatever he's told, so he's not arguing about it. But then Vi brings in all the kids into the kitchen, and they legitimately have no idea how to clean up after themselves.
This is very true.
To the point where Ashley said, let's just take these dishes and put them in Jeffrey's room.
Well, my favorite is still Hillary doesn't know what a dishwasher is. That's my favorite. Because I will stick a few toes in the Chanel bubble here. It might not be a Chanel bubble. It might be like a Converse bubble for me. Because I might be able to get a pinky toe in the Chanel bubble. Because growing up, I didn't know what a dishwasher did.
Yeah.
Like, we always had them in whatever various homes we lived in or various places we visited. But we never put anything in the dishwasher. So for like a good 2-3 years, I would say, what does that do? Well, that washes the dishes. No, I wash the dishes. What does that do? No, you put the dishes in there and it washes the dishes for you. Wait, you mean that's the machine that washes the dishes so I don't have to?
Yeah.
I'm so confused. And as a child growing up, I felt hurt by my parents because they deprived me of figuring this out on my own. It's like, no, you wash the dishes. You are the dishwasher. So I didn't know that there was such thing as a dishwashing machine.
But then you learn later on that even though there is a dishwasher, it's not a complete dishwasher because you still have to clean off the dishes and make sure there's no residue from the food on there. Otherwise, you don't get a clean dish.
I mean, but still, there are many lost hours of comic books and video games and random nothingness I could have been doing.
And you see, just in this time, you and I are getting into the deep philosophical ramblings that come with figuring out what the dishwasher does, and it takes time.
Yeah.
And Vi doesn't have that time.
No.
She says, okay, Hillary is clearly too stupid for me to explain this to her. Carlton and Ashley, they might have some ability to understand this, but I don't want to even risk that.
Nah.
So I'm going to send everyone besides my son, who I raised, that I know knows how to clean up after himself appropriately, despite the fact that he has not been doing it.
Yeah.
And they're all going to leave. And this is the last time in the episode that she does that.
Yeah.
Because, when it comes to the Thanksgiving meal, she could have stepped in at some point and saved the meal.
Nah.
No, but she doesn't.
Mm-mm. No, not going to let it happen.
No, not at all. So this theme continues on to the next day, the day before Thanksgiving, where we find out for the first time that the Bankses have a gardener.
Well, I mean, obviously they have a gardener. We just never meet the gardener.
Well, this is when we met the gardener. This is Jesse. He's the gardener.
I think in this episode they wanted to highlight all the people that the banks employ. I think so.
Well, let's see. They only highlighted Jeffrey, who, let's be honest, gets highlighted every episode.
Well, yeah.
And then off camera, they mentioned the caterer.
The caterer was there in spirit. They didn't get any camera time.
No. But Aunt Vi gives Jesse the gardener the day off. Now, I don't know how it works in your world, but in my world, if the boss's brother or sister comes in to my workplace and says, you get the day off, my first thought isn't, oh, this person who is not my boss just told me that I do not have to work for the rest of the day. I am going to listen to them despite the fact that the person who actually signs my checks did not give this same permission.
I'm gonna go with the side of smart and go with the person who signs my checks is the only person I'm gonna listen to. Because obviously everybody has that one brother or sister. Oh, bro, it's cool. Come and chill and watch the game. You don't have to do that gardening work. Not for today. It's a family day.
I think that we should start a new segment on the show called Fresh Reoccurring Themes. Because this is going to be a reoccurring theme where people listen to people that they should not listen to.
No.
Like Aunt Vi showing up. That's a reoccurring theme.
Yeah.
We glossed over this, but when Aunt Vi first showed up, there is a dance sequence with the entire family.
That doesn't happen every time you have family come in? You don't just get in line and dance in the living room?
Not to the Temptations Ain't Too Proud to Beg.
I mean, it doesn't have to be the Temptations per se. But you don't have just a family line dance every time a new relative comes into town? In
complete in-sync choreography?
Yeah, I think that's just mandatory. That's just life.
I never had this happen. If this is happening to you, if you've got family video, shoot them to us, please.
No family videos. Too many incriminating Look, give us like a Vine. Give us like 6 seconds. Okay?
No. I am going to fight you on this one. If you have the full link to the YouTube video, send it to us. Send us the link. We will cut the best version of it. The best 15 seconds. We'll put that on our Instagram.
I like it. Okay. Because everybody has that one uncle who falls over in the middle and just take out the whole family.
Yep. What's our theme song for reoccurring themes going to be? fresh reoccurring themes.
There we go. It happened. That just happened. Genius.
You sure don't want me to take it up the octave?
It's quite I am a genius with auto-tune.
You are a genius with auto-tune.
I can sound like Cher, Britney Spears, Elton John, and Michael Jackson all in the same take.
And he'll be doing that next week.
Yeah. What he said.
So, back on topic. Aunt Vi tells Aunt Viv, these kids, they need to learn to do chores. You know, I sent Will here so that he could get a good education, and he does all of his studying. But when he was at home, he did all of his schoolwork, and he mowed the lawn, and he did his chores, and he took out the trash.
Yeah, but to Will's defense, it was also a 4-foot by 4-foot block of grass that you could probably cut with scissors.
Okay. And how big would you say the Banks' lawn is?
What is the west end of Central Park? For 2,000? Yeah, I think I'll go with that.
Okay, we'll take it.
Yeah. Riding on that John Deere for about 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour isn't as cool as you thought it was.
No. Although I think if the Banks had a John Deere, Will would be a lot more cool mowing the lawn that way.
That's true. Very true.
So after this conversation, Will goes off, he mows the lawn. Aunt Viv is irked by Aunt Vi and decides, all right, I've just got called out by my sister. She says my kids are spoiled. My kids are very competent. So what they're going to do is they're going to cook the entire Thanksgiving meal themselves.
Yeah, about that. No. That is just... Look, here's my thing, and this is just me. Nobody do what I do or say what I say unless you're me, because it doesn't have that charm. You might get hit. Now, obviously, we all grew up with the parents sitting on the couch and calling you from 500 feet away from your room to get the remote that is 5 feet in front of them.
Yes.
Or not even 5 feet sometimes, maybe just an arm stretch away.
Yes.
And we've all had that take out the trash because I don't feel like it. And the parents giving you things to do that they just don't feel like doing.
Yes.
We've all had that.
Yes.
This is not a good time to do that.
Because this is a situation where you're actually punishing yourselves by trying to teach your kids a lesson.
Yeah. With no backup plan. Like, most of the time when your parents do that, they have, like, food coming.
Yeah. And they did not. We'll get to why we know that in a minute, but Will is the one who is in charge of doing all this cooking.
Yeah. Once again, no, don't do that.
And, like, okay, if I were Will in this scenario, the first thing I would have done is said, Hillary, your job is to go sit over there. Don't leave, but go sit over there.
Okay. I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, because it's like she needs to be there, and she needs to make sure that she doesn't get into any trouble and doesn't rat them out, but she just needs to go sit in a corner.
Yeah.
And then Ashley, she's going to cut up some carrots.
Okay. So you're going to have the 9-year-old with the sharp knife.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes, because better her than Carlton.
Okay.
And then Carlton, you put him on the rolls. Because he can handle a Pillsbury. He can handle a yam.
Okay.
All right? And then Will, he's going to do the stuffing himself. And then the turkey just kind of sits off to the side until the stuffing is done. And then Will stuffs the bird. That's the only scenario in which this is not a complete and utter failure.
Yeah, that's a way to go.
But that's not what happened.
No, that's clearly not what happened.
No, instead, Hillary is in charge of both the yams and the rolls. Ashley's in charge of the cranberry sauce. Carlton is in charge of the stuffing. And Will is in charge of the turkey, which is still frozen.
Yeah, see, all of those assignments, except for Ashley's, did not make sense. Because, all you gotta do is give Ashley a can and a can opener, and we've got dinner.
Yes.
But Hillary doesn't know that food needs to be checked. She just thinks you put it in and put it in the oven, and it just comes out perfect.
Yeah. Which is not the case.
No. Carlton has whipped the stuffing to death, and it is all dry. And Will says, "Hey, let's put some chowder in here, or some mushroom.
It was cream of mushrooms.
Cream of mushroom. It was something that did not make sense."
Well, the craziest part of all this is we already know that Carlton and Ashley cannot cook.
No.
Because from Jeffrey's birthday episode a couple weeks ago, they were in charge of the cooking, and they failed miserably.
If you can't do toast right, you just shouldn't.
No, you really shouldn't. So meanwhile, while all this is happening, Carlton has finagled a scenario where Mr. Fellows, his English teacher of Rafael de la Ghetto fame,
oh yeah,
is at this Thanksgiving dinner to potentially boost Carlton's grade.
And because he didn't have anywhere to go.
Yes.
I'm just going to go under the speculation that his family found out that he was a De La Ghetto fan and banned him from all family invites ever in life.
Which is also probably why his wife divorced him.
Yeah, this is a very lonely time for Mr. Fellows.
Yeah. So, another reason why he might not be quite as loved as he once was, he's teaching his students Hamlet, but not just any Hamlet, a hip-hop version that he wrote himself.
Yeah, and we know Mr. Fellows keeps his thumb on the beat of the streets.
For those of you who did not watch the Rafael de la Ghetto episode, he very famously said, "The South, man, we gotta do something about that."
Yeah, shout out to all the Mr. Fellows out there.
Oh, dear Lord.
Who try to help but don't do anything but make it worse.
So this episode plays out exactly the way you would expect it to. Carlton brings out the stuffing. It's the consistency of soup. Ashley brings out the cranberry sauce, which she had dropped on the floor earlier, and Hillary calls her out on it.
Yeah.
The yams and the rolls are both burnt.
And charred in the middle.
Yes, it is. And the turkey's still frozen.
Yeah.
There's no meal.
No.
So Aunt Viv and Vi go back into the kitchen and have a quick sisterly talk, Aunt Viv says, you really hurt my feelings when you told me all those things about my kids. And, Aunt Vi says, I just want them to be good kids, and I raised you.
Yeah.
And we have this sisterly moment, not realizing that while they are making this food, Will runs in saying, hey, listen, you had better get some food out here, because you're literally hearing, it's like at summer camp where the kids are banging on the table.
Oh, yeah.
You're hearing that coming from the dining room. So, in all this time, Aunt Viv has put some lettuce in a bowl, and then she takes that bowl with some ranch dressing and takes that out to the table.
Well, see, if you were paying attention like I was, you would notice the bank's fridge. We get to see inside for the first time.
Yes.
And I'm from the era of cribs, I guess, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
If that dates me. When you went to cribs, where did you go? You went to the garage. Of course, you got to start with the garage.
Absolutely.
And then at some point, you go into the fridge.
Yes.
And it's normally full of something, because these are obviously rich people.
Yes.
And because as we all know, when we're poor, we don't have our fridge half empty because it makes more space. It's because we don't have money to fill it up.
This is true.
But if you look inside the bank's fridge, there was like nothing in it. It was like the front row of drinks and Yeah, it was just pretty much the front row of everything, and it was empty behind.
Well,
And
it was TV full.
I guess.
It's like there, and you're correct. That is a very expensive deep freeze refrigerator and freezer. No question. That is a big deal appliance. But it looked like there was some sort of casserole sitting in there that Aunt Vi grabbed. And maybe that was her contingency plan that got cut.
Because I didn't see them prepare any food while they were in the kitchen.
None. They just had their sisterly conversation. Everything was okay with the family by the end of it. And when Aunt Vivian leaves, you get the mother-son moment with Vi and Will.
Yeah, and this is the moment where Will had to go from all that goofy to actually acting, because this was a somewhat serious scene for him.
And by this point, he's learned enough about acting that he can act. And he pulls this off very nicely.
Yes, he does.
And we learned from Mr. Fellows that Will is getting an A in English. And Aunt Vi is very proud of him for that.
Yeah.
But they miss each other.
Oh.
And they hug.
Oh.
And that's how the episode ends.
Yeah.
And that's the last time we see Aunt Vi till the next time we see Aunt Vi.
Yeah.
This was a really pointless episode. I don't think that Hillary learned anything in this episode.
See, if Hillary was to learn anything, to even backtrack, how you said Hillary should go sit in the corner?
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I would put Hillary on the phone and say, call all of your celebrity chef friends and see how fast they can get Thanksgiving dinner down here.
And because Hillary's got her credit card.
Of course.
You're right. That should have been the solution.
That would have saved the day.
But it also would have gotten Will hit again, which is what he was trying to avoid.
This is true, but if I have to get hit and eat good food, I'm going to choose that between not getting hit and eating a black rock of a muffin or a roll.
Or at the very least, what they could have done was say, all right, we cooked this the way you asked us to, and we tried, but we knew we were going to fail.
Yeah.
So here's a Bobby Flay cooked Thanksgiving meal.
And that would have won. He'd have got hit in the head, but it's okay.
And Uncle Phil would have been the most okay with it because he would have gotten to eat.
But the best part about this whole thing was everybody had their Aunt Vi moment. Like, Aunt Vi came in, and she had her moments, and then Aunt Viv became Aunt Vi.
And then Will tried to become Aunt Vi because one of the reoccurring lines they used, first Aunt Vi said, those kids have been getting a free ride in a fancy car.
I want a free ride in a fancy car.
Yeah, that's what Uber X is for.
Okay.
And then Aunt Viv uses that line on Will.
Yeah.
And then Will tries to use that line on Carlton, Ashley, and Hillary, but the way he says is, you guys have been getting a fancy ride in a free car.
Still works for me. I'm still down.
As long as the car is free, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think about that. Like, I get a car after this? I'm winning. Forget Uber X.
So much win.
Hey, it's quite all right. I mean, we're already in Bel Air. We're already somewhat in the Chanel bubble. We're already in the almost limitless credit card area. A free ride in a fancy car isn't a bad add-on. Especially since only a few of them could drive at this point.
Well, no, everyone but Ashley could drive.
Yeah.
And, Ashley probably would try to drive.
No, I think Ashley's too moral right now. She's still a kid. She hasn't joined the dark side.
But Will is slowly pushing her in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pawn shop was a good introduction because she's already started off with one of the worst things that you could do.
Yes, and that happened really quickly.
Yeah, this was a fairly tame episode. But then again, if we're talking about Thanksgiving, that's when all of the wildness kind of dies down because you don't want to act a fool in front of your family.
Yeah. Yeah. So the real question is, was there anything to learn in this episode.
Yes, there was bad parenting. You don't let the children cook Thanksgiving dinner.
If only because it punishes yourself. And when your patriarch is a large man with incredibly violent tendencies, the last thing you want to do is deprive him of food.
Yeah, I was scared he was going to eat Mr. Fellows after a few wraps.
And then Ashley's on the platter right afterwards.
Yeah, she might be the dessert.
And normally this is where I'd ask you if this was a good episode, but I can't even bring myself to do it. I can't say it was.
Yeah, it was like Leave It to Beaver kind of feel to it.
I mean, the one thing it did have going for it was, despite the fact that the setup was a little ridiculous, they still played up the jokes.
Yeah, they did.
Like, I mean, there was nothing that would carry over, but they had funny moments.
Well, see, I even think the funniest moments was the outfits. Because, like I said, I got vertigo. I'm not lying.
Nope.
I got vertigo with all the geometric shapes and colors. But one of the crowning moments is the Fresh Prince sleeps with a hat on. in pajamas made of money signs.
You know, for an episode that had such loud fashion, it was ultimately such a ridiculous episode. They established a lot for the series in it. I mean, they never recast Will's mom.
No.
Which is more than we can say for other characters. They will use the family dancing to Ain't Too Proud to Beg.
Yeah.
On more than one occasion.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and they will have more Theo moments.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me that they needed to almost throw away an entire episode just to set all of that up.
I'm telling you, it's the hangover episode. It's that Monday morning after the 4-day weekend, and the network said we got to give them an episode by tonight. Let's just write something. They can't really fire us right away.
And it's episodes like this that make people wonder, well, did they get canceled between seasons and then get a last-minute pickup? Is that what was happening? And it's episodes like this that make people assume that.
Hey, let's not forget, Kobe had 3 air balls in the playoffs before.
And none of them were as bad as Carlton's air ball last week.
No, nothing beats that air ball. But still, my point being, they all can't be winners. Sometimes they lose really bad.
Sometimes you need to take a little bit of money from the writing budget so that you can afford the Temptations Ain't Too Proud to Beg.
Yeah. And that might have been it. They might have spent all their money and all their resources on getting that clearance, and then everything else was like, guys, I don't think we have enough. Write a sketch, go. Whatever you write, we're going to keep.
So, yeah, we could either remove one writer for this week, or we can cut back on the craft service budget.
So who's going home?
Exactly. It's like at a restaurant. You got to cut someone's shift.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't Mr. Boomps.
Nope.
Sir Boomps had to be there.
You have to keep him there.
Yeah.
Because he essentially saved this episode because it was the West Philly moments that really made it.
Because it was the real moments where Will actually had to become the old Will, who was actually doing his chores and mowing the lawn and doing his homework. But we never mentioned the fact that the old Will always found time to get into some trouble.
Well, yeah. But also I think his classes were a lot easier.
True.
You know, he wasn't taking Latin.
No. I would think in between Latin and Mr. Fellows and all of the other extracurricular activities that are challenging Will, I don't think Aunt Vi has anything to worry about.
No, probably not, especially because he's on the basketball team now.
Yeah, and I'm assuming Carlton got cut at this point.
Yeah, probably. But we'll find out, because we got over 100 more episodes, so...
I can live with that.
There you go.
So we learned about bad parenting, and the Banks kids are, as you say, entertaining.
Yeah.
But useless.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think that just about covers it. So thank you all so much for listening. As always, please keep the conversation going with us. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at SoFreshSoPrince. Follow us on Tumblr, SoFreshSoPrince.tumblr.com. Thank you guys for putting up with my scratchy cold voice for what I'm just getting over.
It's quite
today.
All right. You still sing better than most people.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
Any last words, Lorenzo?
You love the Aunt Vi in your life.
Yeah.
Even if your mother is Aunt Vi, just do what she says. She'll be gone soon, and then you can go back to bossing somebody around.
And please leave an Aunt Vi comment on iTunes.
Yeah.
Find us. If you're not subscribed to us there, go on, find us, rate us 5 stars, leave a nice comment. Really helps other people find the show.
Yeah, and I think we're entertaining.
I agree.
I mean, we tried with this episode. They're just...
We try with every episode. Some episodes are easier than others.
This is true, but it's like we got the chicken bone that had nothing but the grease left on it. I don't think we got any meat off of this one.
Yeah, let's see the Gilmore Guys do that.
Yeah, challenge is out there. But we love you. But the challenge is out there.
Yes.
You will lose. Still love you, though.
Have a great week, everyone, and remember, whatever you do and however you do it, make sure you stay so fresh.
So Prince.
Peace.
So Fresh, So Prince is a Ben from the Apple production, produced by Andrew Apple and Lorenzo Court. Music by Cliffy Majors.